Welcome back, everyone, to Mighty Habits. We're diving deep today
Into habits.
into
The
habits.
habit formation.
Exactly. And we're going to be looking at this book, Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
It's really good.
It's a really good one.
And it's all about, like, how these tiny little changes that we can make can, like, really have huge effects on our lives in the long term.
Yeah, it's so intriguing because it really kind of like pushes back against that idea that we need to make these massive sweeping changes,
Yeah, totally.
to see any kind of progress.
Yeah.
But James Clear, he really champions this concept of small incremental improvements over time.
Yeah.
And he calls these atomic habits.
I love that.
And they can lead to some significant outcomes.
So it's kind of like, instead of trying to become like a marathon runner right away,
Right.
you're just like, okay.
Just put on your shoes.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk today.
Just start walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. That's a great analogy because it's kind of like investing.
Right.
You wouldn't just put like one lump sum into your investment account and expect to be rich.
Totally.
It's the consistency
It's
of putting those regular contributions in that ultimately builds your wealth.
yeah, and like that makes it seem so much less scary
Right.
because like
It's less overwhelming.
I get so overwhelmed thinking about like all the things I want to change about myself.
Yes.
And it's like,
One step at a time. Okay.
yeah, I can handle like
All right.
a 10-minute walk
Yeah.
or drinking more water or something like that.
You got it. And James Clear, he applies this same principle to habits.
Okay.
So it's these small, consistent actions
Okay.
that you repeat over time that lead to significant personal growth.
So is he like, are there any like concrete strategies in this book?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's got lots of great strategies.
Okay.
One of the key frameworks that he introduces is something called the 4 laws of behavior change.
Ooh. Like that.
It's catchy. Right.
Yeah.
And it's a really practical set of rules that can help us understand how to make good habits stick
Okay.
and break bad ones.
I'm in. Okay, tell me.
Let's dive in.
Yeah.
Let's take the first law,
Yeah.
make it obvious.
Okay.
So Clear argues that we need to design our environments in a way that makes it easy
Yeah.
to do the good habits.
Okay.
So if you're trying to drink more water, for example,
Yeah.
keep a full water bottle like right there on your desk.
Oh,
So you see it all the time.
like a visual cue.
Exactly. It's a reminder to stay hydrated
Oh, that's so smart.
throughout the day
Yeah.
because that one little change
Yeah.
can make a big difference.
It's like you're setting yourself up for success without even thinking about it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you remove those little barriers and just make the desired action like the most obvious choice.
That's so clever. Okay, that's great for building good habits.
Yeah.
But what about breaking bad ones?
Ah, good question. Breaking bad habits, we often have to take a little bit of a different approach.
Okay.
So going back to these 4 laws, the second one is called make it unattractive.
Okay.
So you can think about maybe removing temptations
Oh.
altogether.
Okay.
So if late night snacking is your downfall,
Ah.
keep those unhealthy snacks out of sight.
Okay.
Maybe even out of the house entirely.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Right,
So
yeah.
you make those less desirable actions just less appealing
Yeah.
and therefore less likely to occur.
Yeah.
It's all about reducing that temptation.
That makes so much sense.
And what I really like about his framework is how simple and practical it is.
Yeah.
It's not about relying on willpower or motivation.
Which is like always changing.
Right.
Yeah.
Always up and down.
Totally.
So instead, it's about creating systems and environments that actually like support your goals.
It's like we're hacking our own brains
Yeah.
to like make good habits like almost automatic.
That's it. You're rewiring those neural pathways.
Yeah. And making those bad habits like less enticing.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, so we talked about making it obvious.
Yeah.
We talked about making it unattractive.
Uh-huh.
What else?
So another powerful concept that James Clear introduces is this idea of habit stacking.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, have you heard of that?
I have heard of it, yes.
Right?
Yeah, so it's basically where you link a new habit
Uh-huh.
to an existing one.
Okay.
So let's say you want to start meditating every day,
Okay. Yeah.
but you're having trouble remembering to do it.
Right.
So try doing it right after you brush your teeth
Oh.
every morning.
Because I already do that.
Exactly, because you already do that.
Yeah.
So you're attaching this new habit
Uh-huh.
to an already ingrained routine, and
Yeah.
that increases the likelihood of it sticking.
That's so brilliant. It's like you don't have to,
It just becomes automatic.
yeah, you don't even have to like think about it.
You don't have to put in that mental effort.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just part of your routine now.
I'm like already thinking about all the habits that I can stack now.
I know, right?
Okay, I am officially on board with this atomic approach.
it can be a game changer.
Yeah.
Especially for people who've struggled with those like more traditional methods.
With just trying to use willpower.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so instead of relying on willpower and motivation, which we know can be very unreliable,
Yes.
it's about leveraging the power of small, consistent actions
Yeah.
to create lasting transformation.
It's so funny how we as humans, like, always try to overcomplicate things.
We do.
Like, we want these huge dramatic changes when really it's like
Yeah.
those tiny daily actions that actually, like,
that shape us.
make us who we are.
Totally.
Yeah.
Atomic Habits offers such a refreshing and empowering perspective because it reminds us that we do have the power to create lasting change just one small step at a time.
It's not about being a superhero.
Right.
It's just about being, like,
A little bit better.
a little bit better
Each day.
than yesterday.
That's it.
Yeah.
You got it.
I love that. Okay.
So Atomic Habits encourages us to embrace like a more sustainable and less stressful approach to growth.
I'm inspired. I'm already, like, inspired to look at my own habits.
Yes.
It's like making me realize I've been doing it all wrong.
It's never too late
Yeah.
to start building those atomic habits that are going to lead to a more fulfilling and successful life for you.
And the best part is it doesn't require, like,
A complete overhaul.
quitting your job and moving to the mountains.
Right. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
It's about making small, manageable tweaks that really fit into your existing routine.
Yeah.
And they build on each other.
I'm starting to see how this could be like a game changer for, like, anyone who feels stuck
Absolutely.
or, like, overwhelmed by
Yeah.
those, like, big changes.
It can feel so much more approachable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
It's encouraging.
It's practical.
It's
Practical.
It just makes sense.
It makes sense.
And another key aspect of Atomic Habits that we haven't even touched upon yet is this idea of focusing on your identity.
Oh.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I've heard about that a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Like identity-based habits.
Identity-based habits.
Yeah.
Okay, so Clear, he argues that like lasting change really comes from shifting your beliefs about yourself.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So it's about asking yourself like, who do I want to become?
Okay.
Rather than just what do I want to achieve?
Oh.
So instead of saying I want to lose weight, you might say I want to become a healthy person.
So it's almost like stepping into that identity.
Exactly.
And letting your habits follow.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
When your habits become a reflection of who you are, rather than just something you force yourself to do,
Right.
they become so much easier to maintain.
That makes sense.
Because you're not just going through the motions, you're actually embodying those qualities and values that are important to you.
That's like a really powerful shift.
It is.
Like in perspective.
Yeah.
Because it's like, instead of battling against yourself,
Right.
you're working with your identity
You're working with yourself.
to create a life that feels like authentic
Exactly.
and like aligned.
Yes.
This is like making me think about my own habits in a whole new way.
I love that.
It's like, I'm not even thinking about like what I'm going to get.
Right.
It's like, who am I going to become?
Exactly.
And that's like a much more interesting question for me.
And that's where the magic happens. When your habits are rooted in your identity,
Okay.
they become effortless and sustainable.
Yeah.
And that leads to lasting change.
You know what else I like about this book?
That's that.
Is that it's not just like theoretical.
Right.
Like he's got
Real world examples.
research.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just like fluffy feel-good stuff.
It's based on science.
Yeah.
So he's not just telling you what to do.
Right.
He's explaining the science behind habit formation.
Yeah.
And then he provides these practical strategies that have been proven to work.
Yeah, and it's like written in a way that like anybody can understand.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very accessible.
Like you don't have to be like a PhD in like psychology.
You don't have to be a habit expert.
Yeah.
Exactly.
To get it.
It's for anybody
It's really cool.
who wants to improve their life
Yeah.
in any area.
It's like a toolkit.
It is a
I
toolkit.
had life.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like a toolkit for personal growth.
Yeah.
Filled with practical strategies and insights that you can use to build the life you want.
Okay, so we're talking about this identity-based thing.
Yes.
I want to go back to that for a second.
Okay, let's do it.
Because I find that really interesting.
Yeah.
So can you just like remind everybody again like what that is?
So the idea behind identity-based habits is that we should focus on who we want to become
Okay.
rather than what we want to achieve. So it's about shifting that focus.
So it's like the process versus the outcome.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So instead of saying, I want to lose weight,
Mm-hmm.
you might say, I want to become a healthy person.
Okay.
So it's changing your identity.
That's so powerful.
It is.
Because when you identify as a healthy person,
yeah,
your actions are going to follow.
they're going to naturally align with that identity.
Exactly. And I imagine that makes it a lot easier to like stick to those habits.
It does.
In the long term.
Yeah, because when your habits are aligned with your identity, they become effortless and sustainable.
Yeah.
You're not fighting yourself anymore.
It's not a chore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not just about changing our actions. It's about changing our beliefs about ourselves.
Okay.
It's about cultivating an identity that supports the habits we want to develop.
This is like blowing my mind a little bit.
It's powerful stuff.
It is really powerful.
It is?
Because it's like we have so much more control
We do.
than we think we do, you know?
And when we start to view ourselves as the type of person who embodies those positive habits, it makes it so much easier to make them a natural part of our lives.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It is cool.
I love that.
And it's really transformative, you know?
Yeah.
Because it means we're not limited by our past or our current circumstances.
Right.
We can choose to become the person we want to be by adopting the habits that support that vision.
So this is making me think about the long game. It's not about like checking off a box.
Right.
It's like...
It's a way of being.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a shift from outcome-based goals to identity-based goals.
Okay.
It's less about, I want to run a marathon, and more about, I want to become a runner.
Oh, I like that.
You know, someone who prioritizes fitness and just enjoys that process of training.
And then like all the habits that come with that, like eating healthy and getting enough sleep.
All those things.
It just like naturally happens.
It become much easier to maintain.
Yeah.
Because they align with your sense of self.
Okay, so this could also work for breaking a bad habit then.
Absolutely.
Like if you see yourself as someone who values like health and well-being, you're not going to be like...
You're less likely to engage in those habits that contradict that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
So you're creating this cognitive dissonance between who you are and the actions you're taking.
Well, that's interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
When your habits clash with your identity, it creates that discomfort that then motivates you to change.
It's like holding up a mirror and saying, like, does this align with who I want to be?
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It's about becoming more self-aware and making those choices that are congruent with that desired identity.
I'm like really liking this.
It's good stuff.
It's really empowering.
It is.
It's like we're not fixed.
Yeah. You know, we can
evolve.
Change and evolve.
Exactly. We can become the best versions of ourselves.
Okay, so Atomic Habits gives us the framework.
It does.
To do that.
Yeah, it helps us understand the science of habit formation.
Okay.
It helps us identify those small changes that we can make.
Yeah.
And then it encourages us to consistently take action.
Okay.
To align those habits with our desired identity.
So it's not about like forcing ourselves to be different.
No overnight transformations.
It's like a process.
It's a process. It's a journey of continuous growth.
I like that.
And self-discovery.
Yeah. And that sounds a lot more fun.
It is more fun.
Than like white knuckling it.
It takes the pressure off.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's about taking those small steps day after day.
Okay.
And watching as they compound into something truly remarkable.
It's about becoming the architects of our own lives.
Yes.
That's so cool.
I love that.
Crafting our identities through the habits we cultivate.
Okay, I'm seeing the beauty in this approach now.
Good.
It's not about being perfect.
No.
It's about progress.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's about those incremental improvements that create this ripple effect of positive change over time.
And that makes it sustainable.
It does.
Because it's not about like relying on willpower.
Why, willpower fades.
Yeah.
Motivation comes and goes. It's about creating those systems and environments that support your goals.
This is making me think about how like we get so discouraged when we don't see results right away.
Oh, yeah. We live in a culture of instant gratification.
Yeah.
But true growth takes time.
Yeah.
It takes dedication.
So Atomic Habits is like saying just be patient.
Be patient. Trust the process.
Okay.
You know, those small, consistent actions will lead to those significant outcomes.
It's like planting a seed.
Yes.
You can't like yell at it to grow.
Exactly.
It takes time.
It takes time.
Yeah.
But with consistent nurturing, it will blossom.
That's a great analogy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Atomic Habits is like a reminder
It is.
That the journey is just as important
Yes.
as the destination.
Exactly. And it's about enjoying that process of becoming,
Yeah.
continually learning and evolving.
I love that.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off
It does.
of like having to achieve this like big thing.
A big outcome, yeah.
Yeah.
It allows you to just focus on like
Yeah.
the joy.
The joy of getting better.
Getting better, yeah. One small step at a time.
And like celebrating those little wins along the way.
Yes. Celebrate those small wins because they matter.
Okay. I'm really liking this book.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
It is.
What else is cool about it?
Well, another thing I appreciate about Atomic Habits is that it's not just a self-improvement book. You know, it's a practical guide to understanding like human behavior.
Right.
It provides these insights that can be applied to any area of life.
Not just
personal goals.
Getting up early.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So whether you're a business leader looking to improve team performance, or an educator trying to foster better learning habits, or just an individual striving for personal growth.
Okay.
The principles in Atomic Habits can be applied.
So it's about understanding how we work.
Yes.
As humans.
Understanding those underlying mechanisms that drive our actions.
Okay.
And then using that knowledge to create positive change.
This has been really insightful.
Good.
I'm inspired.
Excellent.
If anybody's listening and they want to like dive deeper into this whole atomic approach.
Yeah.
Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Read it.
It's a good one.
It's packed with advice and examples.
Strategies.
It's really good.
It's a good one.
Yeah. And it can help you make lasting changes in your life.
It's like one of those books that could like
shift your perspective.
Yeah. Change your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And empower you to take control of your own destiny.
I like that.
One small habit at a time.
Okay.
So it's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
It's about progress. It's about embracing that journey, celebrating your wins, and learning from your setbacks because we all have the power to create a life that is more fulfilling and more meaningful, more aligned with our values.
Okay.
And it all starts with those small, consistent actions.
The Atomic Habits?
The Atomic Habits, yes.
That compound over time to create those
extraordinary,
amazing results. Okay, so if you're feeling inspired to like go on this journey.
On this Atomic Habit journey.
Yeah, come join us.
Join our community here.
At Mighty Habits.
At Mighty Habits.
Yeah.
We've got a fantastic online forum.
We do.
Where you can connect with like-minded people.
Share your experiences. Ask questions.
Get support.
Support each other, yeah.
Yeah, it's a space where you can find inspiration and motivation.
Practical tips.
On how to make those positive changes stick.
And of course, subscribe to the podcast.
Yes.
For more deep dives.
More deep dives into all sorts of
habit stuff.
Personal growth topics.
Yeah.
We're here to help you unlock your full potential.
Yeah.
And create a life that you absolutely love.
We're passionate about this.
We are.
Yeah.
So join us on this journey of atomic transformation, one small step at a time.
You've got the power.
You do.
To create the life you want.
It all starts with those tiny, consistent actions.
Yeah.
The atomic habits that over time will compound into something truly extraordinary.
So go make those
Mighty Habits
happen.